Hey everyone, this video will be mainly about the 3e6 line, showing typical themes arising after bishop takes on a6, such as how to punish the aggressive queen a5, how to deal with the annoying knight e4, how to squeeze the bishop d6 line, and at the end of the video we'll be taking down the Grunfeld. Getting the white pieces, let's go d4, getting the knight to c3, bishop to f4, c knight f6, just going knight b5, going e3. c6 is like most common, and now see bishop b4. I really like to play against these lines, and then we go knight f3. That's like not really a problem, we can sacrifice the pawn. Yeah, he can have that, we don't really mind it. I'm just trying to figure out a way to play now. I think rook b1 should be good, and then knight e5 could be annoying. Could go for it right away, could start rook b3. Bishop d6 is also a move. I think bishop d6 is actually a good move now. And then we're getting like knight e5 kind of stuff. So bishop b4, queen c4, knight e5, queen b5. Queen's almost getting trapped. Yeah, I think I like this. Was expecting that move, and now I think we have like a forced win here. It like really feels to be that way. Okay, I think rook a1, queen b2, there should be a win. Oh, there's just knight e3 and we're trapping. Yes, that's kind of doing it. Finally, we managed to get a queen. Okay, I think that was a pretty accurate game. Like if we're running like a game review, I think it's gonna be pretty nice. I don't know. Was this precise? What do you guys think? I think this game was kind of okay. We do get white pieces. You know what's coming. Gonna be going for the Jobava London. And see what my opponent will play. Thank God we no longer face the Slav. We faced that a million times. We do get back into the e6 lines, just going to play knight b5. Most likely to see knight a6, but yeah, now e3 important, and after c6, just knight back. Bishop takes on a6 is a pretty big positional threat, so knight c7 kind of had to be played. Now I think we can definitely take, and if he combines this with some kind of knight e4 jump or queen a5, I think we're safe to castle. It's not super easy to understand, but apparently it's not that amazing for black to win this pawn, and they're investing like a lot of time for it. I've looked these lines up with a computer, I believe. Pretty tricky to remember every single detail, but I think I know this is good. Now we just have to find the move if we can. So I could start queen d3 as well, kind of forcing bishop a5. Do we want that? I think his bishop is kind of misplaced there, so I'll start with knight e5. Is he gonna go c5? We can at least take it. And like bishop d7, I'm thinking rook b7 could be annoying. And okay, if he has to play bishop e8, I'm kind of skeptical about that setup, but maybe it works, who knows. Okay, we do see bishop d7. I was saying that rook b7 is perfectly playable with bishop e8. Kind of forced, but how about just going queen d3, hitting the bishop, forcing bishop a5, and then taking the pawn on a6 that is actually free. Expecting some kind of bishop b6 move there, but I have a feeling maybe queen b7 is very nasty because it's creating a double attack. So I think this is actually simplest, and you see why it's so annoying for black to play the game basically, even though they were up a pawn. Technically speaking, I think the position is now very dangerous. Yeah, this is first thing that comes to mind. I think he's just winning a pawn, honestly. Just trying to come up with the best version, like knight takes, bishop, queen takes. They have rook c8, there's queen a4. They still have some rook c4, kind of getting counterplay, which I would avoid, so I could also play c4, which I guess is just like slightly better, and we don't really need to complicate with it. But like queen b7, is that all about it? It feels like there should be something promising, but maybe just playing c4 is fine. I think I like it. Sticking with a simple move, big positional threat of going c5, and if they go dc, we've got a long-term weakness to play for. Like dc, for instance, we could take with a knight, we could play rook fc1. No need to rush with it, and okay, once we see f6, I think it's big achievement for us, and we can just take on d7 and play c5. And rook b7 is like pretty huge threat next. getting rid of the bishop, and maybe bishop d8 only move already. Like bishop c7 feels really suspicious, allowing rook b7, even though maybe it might be stronger to take and then play rook b7. So he goes to d8. I could go and infiltrate, probably plays queen c8, and then we can simply double up. And even though I'm not seeing the immediate win, it's definitely gonna be a slow win here. And I think I have a funny trick, like bishop d6, rook f7. So like rook f7, king f7, queen c8, and rook b1. Okay, that's actually, maybe that's the best line. I'll force the issue a bit. Maybe it's not necessary at all. It just felt like it's kind of good. Could also double up with the idea that I'm threatening to take, but he plays rook d7 and I don't think it's easy to make progress. Maybe I have ideas to take and then just double up. Yeah, I'll go for the simplest stuff. They can't take my queen because of checkmate, and yeah, we'll just keep it simple. And now rook b1 with infiltrating. This is now dead lost for black. This is just the easiest way to play it. And okay, it's not like he's dropping anything immediately, it's just that his position is so passive, and eventually we'll manage to either collect this pawn, maybe the a pawn. Yeah, giving a check. Has to play like king g6 or king g8, but I'll just maybe go g4, grabbing more space. I'll try to slowly squeeze. Could actually get the pawn all the way to h5. Yeah, let's fix the weakness. Pretty important. His pawn is on the dark square. There's no way to activate his rook. He's completely tied down. Gonna be getting the pawn till there. Yeah, he still has no threat. I'll start this way just so when I play h4 the pawn will be defended. Simply improving my position. No need to rush with this. And okay, g6. Opening up the 7th rank for me. Rook a8. He's lacking any active ideas. He just can play the waiting game. Can break with f3, e4. I think actually f4, f5 is the most effective way to break, because then my king is coming over. I think that's pretty instructive. Should have gone f5 maybe, but I guess that was still lost, and now it's an easy win because my king is coming over. Maybe it's not so simple yet, because he's not forced to take, but looks very promising with like e4 move. Yeah, just play e4. The king takes. He's very passive. I'll break with d5. And I guess we just win with the passed c pawn. You can always throw g5, but they can play king f3. At the very least. Huge threat. Yep, he can do that. I can take and go bishop e5 and winning the h pawn. Do we need it? I think it's kind of simplest. Otherwise I would have pushed with d5. Could also go d5. But just these two. Keep his bishop passive. Gonna play rook g7 next. Maybe I gave him a little bit of counterplay, but I'll just play d5, ed, take with a king. Still completely winning. His pawns are way too slow. c7, king c6 may come next. Bishop e7, but rook h7. Could also do f6. Huge threat. Hey, we've got him in time. Okay. I think that may have been a pretty instructive game. I think it would have been maybe even more instructive if he was waiting passive. So with that I mean when I played e4 to not go g5. For example, if he just stays, we're playing d5 and winning with a c pawn because he's just like so passive. Let's get our deadly opening on the board. Is it gonna be another Slav? Please tell me it's not. Okay, e6. This lines I'm like having a lot of fun playing against. Getting knight b5. Knight a6, e3 important move, and c6 just knight c3. Will he allow me to take? Okay, he apparently allows it. Just taking on d6, then on a6 playing knight f3. I think white should be better in these lines. Just a small positional edge. I think line goes castle castle c5 or c5 immediately. I think we take and play some kind of queen d4 move. I think we can start castling and then on castle we play queen d4. That's the important idea to remember. And if they take, I think we go pawn takes, and on this I think knight a4 is strong, inviting them to take. Probably keep taking with a pawn. If we take with a knight, they can get into e5 and it can get pretty unclear. I think taking with a pawn is easiest, keeping this bishop kind of bad. He has to do something because like queen c6, maybe we have knight e5, still annoying. Decides to take. I think taking with a pawn is by far the best move, and just gonna be a slow game. If we could trade this knight, that would be pretty amazing, just to play against his bad bishop. We're probably gonna get into something like that eventually. This is pretty annoying though. Okay, I think I've got this. Knight e5, f6, knight e3, bishop d7, knight c5. I think that's the play. Just getting the knight to c5 is pretty huge achievement. Hitting the bishop, probably will trade. Okay, this was bad, I thought, because of knight e6. Could also play like the positional rook e1. I think we're still better. But like knight e6, what is he doing with the rook? Plays rook c8, I expect. Because rook a, there's fork, and then rook c8. Can go back with a knight. I can take on d3, can't he? Yeah, I think we just play positional now. We shouldn't rush. Shouldn't go greedy. Just rook e1, unpinning, and this is next. He's gonna have a very hard time dealing with his weak pawns. Even after he gets to trade, we always take with a knight, and once we get rid of his knight, this weak pawn on e6 is gonna be pretty tricky to deal with, I would say. Yeah, so he takes, is this any interesting? I mean, plays e5. If you could somehow push the passed pawns, maybe you can try to make an argument for it, but this is the solid choice. Knight's defending very well the pawn. Idea to play f3. c3 is always like really nice. This is such a solid setup with the knight on d3. Like this is ideal square for the knight in the structure, and big threat of going f3 followed by a pawn on e6 dropping. And I think his knight is almost getting trapped, which is pretty funny because like f3, knight g5, h4 is winning the knight, but f3, knight d6, I think we have like knight c5 move. That should be kind of winning. I think I'll start doubling up. Just feels that we're avoiding counterplay. I think it's even better because like if f3, knight d6, knight c5, I feel like maybe he gets in e5. Maybe that's nonsense because we can take on e6, but it feels like we're keeping it more under control, doubling up first, and f3 will be huge threat. So I think both moves were maybe playable, but just a matter of taste at this point. He's got like no counterplay. Like try to come up with some play for him. This pawn is always defended. I've got no weaknesses. He's got two pretty obvious weaknesses. Guess he's gonna be having more fun playing these positions. For sure it's gonna be white, so f3 is kind of coming. Now we can just go knight c5 and cash in the e6 pawn. Or the a6 one. Black to choose. Yeah, could just take on e6. That's like a pretty fat pawn. Could take there, but that's sort of a meh pawn. And then return to c5. I guess we'll just take this one because it's just so much more valuable. And on knight e4 there's knight c7. I think as a nice move. Hitting d5 and f3 is huge threat. I don't think you can ever sack the exchange in a good version, and should I have been worried about this? I haven't really considered it. Maybe we can just play b3, can't we? Like, why wouldn't we play this? I don't see, so I don't see, I will play. And b3 just knight back. Yeah, knight d6. Knight is amazingly placed there. Also hitting the pawn. And okay, I don't think he should be allowing this trade because I think he's just dead lost in this endgames after we trade both rooks. Should have definitely tried to keep rooks to create counterplay. And what would be like a precise way? I think knight a4 is like the easiest way to win. Just keeping everything defended, bringing Mr. King over to the party, and then can activate the knight. And that's just dead lost. Absolutely no counterplay for black here. Playing f3, controlling this square, and then just knight c5, and game wins itself. So king d3, he wants knight e4, but we have f3, right? His knight's getting kind of trapped there. So let's see. Yeah, he doesn't try it, but now could simply go knight c5, play a4, fix the weak pawn. This is so lost for my opponent. Okay, a4, knight e4. I'm pretty sure we can always take and be winning. Yeah, knight e4 is just always lost, I think. Pawns are way too strong. Maybe just h4. Sort of a nice move, it felt like. Okay, I'll do f3. Why not? If g5, I think maybe we take and we go knight e6. So okay, knight e6, and then g4, king e3 seems winning. Reaching the f4 square. feels to be the simplest. Yeah, could even take, but no need to take. Yeah, that's like a really easy win. King d7, knight c5, and then king f4. How about knight f4, king c6, knight d3? I think that's doable as well. Let's just start it this way, forcing his king back. Felt kind of nicer. Okay, taking 3 pawns. He's dead lost. He's just trying to flag me, I guess. Shouldn't really succeed, but let's go here. King d7, kind of only move. d5, taking a7. Taking a lot of stuff. Knight c6 next. Yeah, trading his knight. Now it's over. Okay, it's gonna be a stalemate, guys. Watch out. Let's give a check. Can skewer him. Okay, should be like a pretty fast mate, but I don't see it. Okay, there you have it. All right, I think that was like a very good game for this line. I'm actually like really happy that we managed to get that one in. Yeah, just no counterplay. I think we were much better the whole time. Just getting a solid edge from the opening and just kind of a positional grind. I think this was honestly like a 95 at least. We only scored like a 91, but you have to keep in mind the game lasted for like 70 moves, so I think that's actually like pretty huge. Okay, we're getting to face the first IM of the series. So let's see, this is gonna be an interesting game. Going for the Jobava London. Do I know my opponent? Jay Bonin. I don't really know him because never playing in the States. So gonna be going e3. He plays the Slav setup. This is like super common for this rating range, 22, 2300. Everyone's playing this way. Although he's mixing it with a Grunfeld, so it gets even more interesting. Now h5 doesn't work so well, and I explain it in my Jobava London theory video. But bishop e2 is the key idea, supporting the h5 push, and now he blocks it obviously. Gonna be getting the knight to e5, switching to the positional plan, and yeah, then we do queen e2 castle. Long on knight e5 we always take with a bishop. And I think generally these positions are a bit easier to play as white, but let's see. Queen b6 is an interesting attempt. I've played rook b1 in a game, thinking to try out a3. Not really hoping that he'll take and we have knight a4, but maybe keeping ideas of long castle. I'm not sure. Like rook b1 you can combine it with the b4 push. I think that's like more standard. Let's do rook b1. Playing it positional, I think we're gonna be castling short. Then going for the b4 push. Okay, bishop e6, that's not such a common square for the bishop, I would say. Going for the push, making some use of this rook. Goes a5. Well, that's interesting. I think we have knight a4. That's a pretty good move, hitting the queen. Like queen d8, knight c5 seems to be pretty uncomfortable to meet. Also b5 looks interesting. Then we take and he's got like the weak pawn. Like knight c5. Hitting this guy. He probably plays like bishop c8. So I think maybe just starting b5 is better. Because like knight c5 after bishop c8 could potentially get hit with b6. This I thought we'd take on c6, create a weak pawn. And then maybe go c4. As a small positional sack, because we can regain it pretty quickly, like bishop f5, there's e4. Otherwise, c5, knight b6 is a pretty big positional threat. Okay, queen c2 I wanted. Try c5. But I think this works very well now. Because, like bishop c4, takes, queen takes cd. Wanted queen d, but maybe knight f6 is in time. Perhaps just dc is good. He wants knight e5, but I'm not sure that's good, like queen c3. Could also start rook f d1, cd, rook d4 as an idea. Maybe just queen c7. Can we actually throw in d5? That would be a nice move if it worked. Bishop d5, rook f d1, bishop e6. Yeah, I think d5 is a nice pawn sack here. And rook f d1 with yeah, bishop e6, maybe knight c5 ideas. I think that's actually pretty clever. Also knight b6 is a thing in the upcoming positions after he moves the bishop. Yeah, like e6, I think there's e4 at least. Okay, knight f6, but I thought we have this and that. What am I missing? Like knight b6, rook b8. Knight e5. He wants rook b1. But then we have queen b1, knight e5. And then there's e4. And on knight c3, there's queen a1 winning because of the pin. I think that's actually pretty accurate. And then we might be simply winning a piece in these lines. Take it. He can't take with a knight because of rook b8. So has to take on b1. But we're taking with a queen. And then we go e4. Yeah. Knight e5, e4. Knight c3, queen a1, and I think that's winning. So could also start queen a1, by the way, and then e4, because like e4, knight c3. Okay, even queen b2 is better, because like queen d4 can take it. Like in the other line, he had knight e2 check intermezzo. Could also go this though, and like c3, e4 should be a win. e4 directly as well. Probably e4 directly is easiest, and knight c2, queen b2. Yeah, even if he's giving up the queen with queen d4. Yeah, I think you should try queen d4, but then it's still lost. Takes and bishop c4. Not like the easiest win, but it should be a win. Yeah, we're gonna see that on the board. I mean, he only has a rook for the queen, so it should be relatively simple. This idea next. Okay, e5. Time to target these pawns. He wants also this guy. How do we play it? Maybe f3, keeping everything defended. Should be a nice way to start. And rook c, there's bishop f7 that he has to watch out for, I thought. Because on takes, we can pick up the rook. That's like a pretty important pawn that we managed to steal. And just queen b7, he can't go d3 because of check and take. He can throw in the check, but seems to be relatively safe after king h2. King f6, bishop g8 seems kind of mating, among other things. Brings the knight, but bishop d5 look kind of crashing. Yeah, I don't know what he has in mind to do. Oh, bishop b3 was cleanest even. Of course, that was better. Now I could have played for some kind of checkmate. Could still do queen b8. Pretty over. Collecting the rook next, or actually mating, so to speak. More important than the rook, it's gonna be a checkmate. So he resigns. Alright, we managed to take down the first IM of the series with a Jobava London by playing the positional way with b4. I think that was an interesting game. I think maybe also pretty accurate. We'll have a look. Apparently d5 was blunder? What do you mean? How is d5 ever a blunder? I think this was like a very interesting move. Okay, apparently opponent is fine after e6, e4. And that's because he has bishop c6 and somehow everything is defended. Yeah, so I was supposed to just do dc. Queen c7 and takes. But I mean, this is not simple though. It's not like a simple win, that's what I mean. Maybe knight b6 in this position, but still, it feels very close. It feels like I can lose this pawn, but okay, this should be probably winning. I actually like my d5 idea, even though he has a precise way to defend against it. Turns out, as in the game, he wasn't this simple. And okay, this was a mistake because he has bishop e4 that I missed. But okay, the rest was kinda nice. Important that you do queen b2, because as I was saying, in the game like this, he can go for the same queen sack, but he has knight e2 in this position. He has a lot of pieces. This is very tricky to win now. So that's why I played queen b2 instead of queen a1, so that in this line, knight e2 doesn't help because we can just take back with a queen and yeah, have a winning endgame, this time with the queen only for the rook. And yeah, then the rest I think was pretty simple. He could have played queen b7, but we kind of debated him in playing that move, and then I think it was all good. Oh, I have bishop g8 mate. Queen b8 was also fine though. And he resigned. Thanks a lot for making it this far into the video, and if you're looking for more content, make sure to check out some of the previous episodes from the same series.